Good evening again. He was asking whether he should do namaskara. He never been to a public place. He never shared with anyone, including his family members, that he does these things. Because he was a loner, he was left out like that. Like, he's there at home. An old man is at home. That's all. So even family members also, they didn't trouble or anything, but they also didn't know the value of what he was doing. I was the first person probably to have permission to go to his room, see what he had done, and things he had thrown out. Nagappa, one of the artists, he picked up few and he preserved them in his thermocol studio, something like that. So this is the first time. That's why he will not talk unless you ask a question, actually. The biggest problem of me shooting was I ask a question, he says yes or no. Without a conversation, without a dialogue, how a sequence can be constructed, I didn't know. So his memory is stuck with a place. You take him to a place, he talks. I have a lot of stories to share, in fact. Once we were coming near Kabban Park, and he asked me to stop near Vidhan Sauda. And he told me, Maga, il barta idre bale sound kelasta ittu. What kind of bangle sound you used to hear near Vidhan Sauda? He said back in 50s, late 50s, because the Central Jail was also close to Vidhan Sauda. Now it's called Freedom Park. The criminals were brought, chained so that they don't run away, and they were the workers actually. Vidhan Sauda is constructed by criminals who were in Central Jail of Bangalore. So when people used to pass there, because of less vehicles or noise, people could hear those metallic bangles. So those are the stories those are the oral ethnographic stories which I had documented. Paucity of time, I had to remove a lot of things. And he was part of a team who were hunting water birds. Devikarani, that side, Kaglipura, Banshankari, that was a forest. Bana Shankari. Bana means forest. Shankari, another name for so, she was in Bana, she was in forest. It was technically forest. Still, somebody used cinema as PR tool to publicize. And every temple I had done back then, from Dharmasthala to Pandrapura, Ayyappa, everybody did, and so Vanshankari. But before it was exploited, there was all forest. He used to go for hunting. He never hunted anything, but he had this sin that I was part of this team, and I've killed, I'm responsible for killing so many birds. That's how, he tries to reconnect with it by making them now. That is my understanding why he does all these things. And he had told me stories about how they used to steal lead mold, which is used to glue two pieces of metal pipes for first phase of Kaveri in 50s and 60s. Apparently, Jayanagar was a coming up area, probably old Bangaloreans connect to what I'm trying to say. So they used to go kilometers inside, find out where the work is happening, and the lead mold, which is just boiled and kept there to glue the metallic pipes, they used to steal that bucket, and they used to bring one sharpshooter from Kolar, KGF exactly, not the popular film KGF. So there's a sharpshooter who again never ate anything what he shot, but he was so precise, he could aim even in the night. So they used to go to Devikarani estate and wait there in the dawn, find out where they roost or like wherever they stay, and shoot the peafowls, and with the help of villagers cook them. So that was his young age. So problem with putting those stories in public is they're all oral stories. He had told me stories of a family, where 7 people got killed in the same family, and his father happened to be a doctor, and he was working at Victoria, and he had to step in there while the blood was still fresh. So there are a lot of stories which were the legal things also. So I wasn't sure whether I'm putting him in danger or anything. So I edited a lot of things actually. There are more interesting stories than what I've told there. Yeah. If you have any precise question, Tata understands English. He'll be talking in Kannada or Tamil. I would translate for those who don't understand language.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ನೋಡಿ ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಒಂದು ಏನೇನು ನೀವು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೋಡಿ ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು. ನಾವು ಬರ್ಡ್ ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಾಫರ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಆ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ತುಂಬ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಇದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹುಡುಕಿದಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಬರ್ಡ್ಗೂ ಒಂದು ಕಥೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಹಿಂದೆ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ, ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ತನ್ನ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹೇಗೆ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳೋರು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಲಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಬರ್ಡ್ ನೀವು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗಲಾದ್ರೂ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇ ಮುತ್ತಿನ ಚಟ್ಟಿ ತ್ವರೆ ತ್ವರೆ. ನೀವು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ದ ಲಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಬರ್ಡ್, ಲಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಬರ್ಡ್, ಲಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಡವ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಲಿಸನ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬರ್ಡ್, ಅದು ಈ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಆ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಆ ಕತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಯಾರೂ ಹೇಳೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ದಟ್ ನಾನು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ತುಂಬ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಈ ಕತೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಈ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹುಡುಕಿದಾಗ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ಡ್ ಕತೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಅಥವಾ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಓ ಈ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಓ ಈ ಪಕ್ಷಿನ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದೆ ಅದು ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, ಆ ಥರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರಬಹುದು. ಆ ಥರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಏನಾದರೂ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಾದರೂ?
The question is about, sir is talking about a bird which sounds like laughing. So every bird has a story. So he's asking whether he knows some stories about birds which he had made. I mean, that's how he is. You have to take him to a place and show the bird, and then he'll tell a story. Because he's not articulative. His conversation is almost with himself, not with others. So, yeah. Yeah, but while documenting, he had told me a lot of stories about, some flowers which he turned into birds. Apparently, that flower is used to attract bed bugs. I mean, I know only chemicals which can attract or kill bed bugs. I never knew that a flower would attract bed bugs. So that was that one story. And also birds, nature. When do they actually don't realize there is a presence of human? So those are the stories he had told me earlier, because of his hunting instincts, all that. How they used to go to village, because back then there was no TV, hardly radio. So 6:30, or by the time it is dark, village will shut down. So they used to go a night before to hunt and make friendship with villagers, and how villagers used to treat him. He had told a lot of stories about it. How a bunch of young strangers, but nobody worried about them. They gave them food, they gave them whatever they had, shelter, in fact helped them to get inside Devikarani estate, because back then when they were, Rorish and Devikarani was there, it was a fully functional factory also inside. Linolin scented, scent they used to produce. I think when the new road is getting constructed now, lot of trees on the roadside are also gone. The trees which you saw, some of them are actually those trees. People don't know the value of them. They just, if you have seen there, now it's under the government control. If I'm not wrong, around 400 plus acres land. And the road hasn't taken much in terms of size, but it's pretty big size of land which is gone. he had told me stories about how Devika Rani had constructed a small tank, water tank for cows, for the bullocks, or bullock cart, all those, because they had to come to market to sell something, right, from the Kanakpura side. So that was the, and also it's dry land. After some point you get lakes. So in between Ravishankar Ashram and then Banshankari, hardly you see any lakes on the roadside actually. So she had constructed a tank, and the rule was uh, the cow or the bull has to be treated very respectfully. So nobody is allowed to bring the cattle directly to water. They're supposed to park their cart or bullock cart, um, untie the whole thing, bring the bull, then drink water, wait for some time, and then leave. Otherwise, she never allowed farmers to use that water. They were not supposed to touch it. It's only for animals. So she didn't care about people. She cared about animals. So these are the stories, a lot of stories I can tell you like this, which only few people knew. It seems in the evening she used to sit with a gun. There was an elevated place like a small mountain. Devika Rani, by the way, probably very early female artist in Indian cinema. The sound cinema in India, the invention of sound in cinema, and Devika Rani are not separable, because she was there in the very first film, first sound film, Alamara. So for at least 20 years, she was a reputed actress in Bombay, and then after she fell in love with Russian artist Rorish, they moved here, bought a piece of land in the outskirts, and they did whatever they could, from making candle, producing candle, small scale industry, while he was still doing his artwork, all that. So there was a lot happening there. So she was like controlling everyone, sitting on a elevated place with a gun in the evening, so that nobody encroached the land. So she wouldn't mind even to shoot in the air, actually. So that's what he used to. That's what he had told me in my documenting stage. Yes, madam.
Sorry, I came a little late. I'll ask you to translate because a little bit of a response to sir. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ kannada ಗೊತ್ತುಂಟ, but ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, so I'll ask you to translate. First of all, I want to share that I cancelled Karate Kids movie plan to come here only because I read your story and Sir's story. So I really want him to know that it's very important for us to get the stories from people who are in their 80s. It really is very important. So maybe you can share that with him. And I also want to share that sometimes we feel someone who's very quiet, like, who may not talk a lot about their work. But I always feel there's an invisible eye in the sky. In this case, you became a medium to bring that work out. And for all of us today, because of climate change, like this very, small acts of love that he has done, it's very important. And it can really move mountains for a lot of people. So I wanted him to know that also. Yes. And although we speak different languages, like some of us have come to Bangalore for work, and we are different generations and all that. And although we have become very caught up with material life, we live very glamorous lives. There's artificial intelligence, robotics, and all these occupy my world too. But these soft stories are becoming very important as well, and more important to the younger and younger generations. So I know that Sir spoke in the movie that that old Bangalore will not come, but I really want him to know that that old Bangalore will come in new ways. That nature will come back through all of us in new ways, because there are a lot of us who are becoming very conscious of that. So that's one more, and then my final thing I'll tell him. Yes, and finally, I would like to ask Sir that not to stop your art, And I would like to ask him if you can paint or make some works of art with your vision, like what is it that you would like of that Bangalore to come back, then please continue, because somewhere, someone will capture that work again and we'll bring it back in new ways. So I would like to just request and ask him to please continue, and whatever those visions are that he feels are lost, at least if he can please articulate them in some way, then we will continue that thread to bring it back for sure.
Is it a wish or a question?
It's a wish and a question, both. Yeah.
Some of his works are there. I mean, you can take, touch, whatever. I asked him and one of my friend, Arvind, who's sitting here, to bring whatever possible. Yesterday, I asked them whether we can, is there a space to display, and they said yes, and that's how we have brought few. And as I told you in the beginning, we were able to count some 40,000, and I don't know how many lakhs are, I don't know, maybe it's exaggeration. I don't know how much of things he has thrown out because of lack of space. I mean, just to continue what I was trying to say earlier, as for my understanding, my limited understanding, I think every artist is sheerly helpless. And that helpless is a bit aggressive also, we can't tolerate. Let's say global warming, whatever, things, everybody knows. Who doesn't know? Even first-handed text as that, right? We know what we are doing wrong, all that. And at some point, an artist becomes immune to, his own sensibilities, and that's how the soul is sold, right? So if he's still in pain, I think the art goes to next level. That's what my understanding. The very reason why somebody paints or, as I said, in my limited understanding, or make film or do this kind of artifacts, there are a lot of layers there. There is me in the past. There is me in the future, and there is everybody around. So there are a lot of layers to the artwork also. I think one way an artist expresses himself is a lot of statements, actually, a lot of statements. It's not just artwork. And if you see them closely, things which we throw as waste, a garlic stem or a seed which we don't even notice in the park in the morning walk. So there are a lot of things which we consider waste, or things which are deserve to be decayed. So those are the things he picks up. For me, that's a big lesson. To save, ourselves, or to save things around, we don't need to look up. The problem is all of us are becoming Elon Musk, looking above, right? So there is nothing above, including God. There is something below. So we have to look down. So that's the biggest lesson I had from him. I mean, he had told all these things to me in the past in different conversations. You have to subject him in that environment, then only he'll speak. Otherwise, he won't. He says he doesn't want to talk. Yeah, sorry. Sorry if I overspoke.
So because it is a document that also wants to record and sustain, I think it is also important to question the film itself. In a way, so this is going to be a bit of a critique with a question. It's a technical critique about the way in which it is told. So
Sorry for the subtitle. There was a wrong file which played. Oh. I did the mistake. Yeah. There were too many copies there.
It's about the music that is used as the backdrop of the film. I think because it has a very strong natural theme to it, as well as because it is trying to be, or it suggests that it is a silent archive. The added sort of music pulls down the affective rhetoric of the film. So the music is then telling me what to feel, which sort of defeats the purpose of the document. And there are instances where the artist sort of points to sounds or the absence of sounds around him, which are also sort of enveloped in this music. And so we don't really get to experience that sort of absence of the sound, which is no more there. So yeah, I mean, it's just that the music sort of pulled down how the story is told then. It becomes a little, yeah, it defeats the purpose in a way of documenting and recording.
Thank you. Sorry for those speed breakers because actually brought wrong hard disk. I mean, if you are an editor, you'll know the pain of buying a hard disk. Every 15 days, 20 days, or you have to buy, keep buying 4 TB, all my salary is going there, yeah. So I was actually confused which one to bring, and I brought, wrong one finally. The final copy is slightly different, actually. We have replaced a lot of tracks. We actually bought a lot of tracks online, a lot of things, and levels are different. I wish, I thought nobody would notice, but you have noticed. Thank you.
ತಾತ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಇದು ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫೇವ್ರೆಟ್ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಯಾವುದು?
ನಾನು 1979ನೇ ಇಸ್ವಿಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಮ್ಮ. ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. ಅದು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದೊಂದೇ. ಏನಮ್ಮ? ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ದಂಗಿದೆ, ಅದು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡೋದಮ್ಮ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Question was what bird, which bird he really likes, and when he started doing. He said 1979. Why he was able to make all those? Because he was a fitter in ITI company. And that will be another story. He has told a lot of stories about public sector units which were in Bangalore, which had 20,000, 25,000 employees at their peak. ITI itself, and if you go towards KR-Puram, Indian Telephone Company, the size, the sheer size of it all. He was a fitter, actually. He had studied ITI. He was a fitter there for some time. He knew this metal fabrication work. That's how he's able to do those. Well, he doesn't know which bird is what. He doesn't know the names. The taxonomy of birds is not aware. But he can replicate a bird's anatomy. The bird which he showed earlier, peafowl, it was a peafowl, and he knows that, okay, this bamboo thorn will become three-legged bird, or I can merge these four twigs like this. I can use this as a head. He knows all those things. He can realistically replicate anatomy of a bird, but he doesn't know taxonomy of it. So again, that puts a question on post-colonial education we have. If you are able to name scientifically or botanically, or then you are valued as someone who's knowledgeable. I should be able to identify the bird through the call, or I should be able to say this page of Salim Ali book or Inscript Carroll's book has this bird, and I've seen it, and this is in Masinagudi. I mean, these are the free knowledge which is there. Anybody who's interested in photography, bird photography, will actually do these things in the beginning level. At some point they realize, okay, birding is not about bird photography, it's something else. They realize it's I mean, for someone it could be meditation, for someone it could be a medium of documenting it for the larger world to appreciate the nature. For him, it's other than this, actually. Let's say, will he be able to make you, a replica of you, in something else? Probably he's capable. His eyes, his observation, his skill is capable of doing it. But he cannot name you. He cannot name you. So that's, and as you can sense now, he doesn't have habit of talking itself. His oral communication is almost negligible. His conversation is with God. For him, God is those things. And that's what he has said. For me, this is God. Why God? I think I'm good in doing this. God wants me to do this. Let me do this little more. That's it, full stop. There is nothing else. There are not too many words to say, I'm an artist, I studied this here and I learned here. No, there are no flowery words to, argue that I'm an artist. that's why I said he was almost undiscovered, unless if it's not my friend Arvind, who had actually showed his work in his in his studio. He was running a tattoo studio in another place, and he was exhibiting there. As I said in the beginning, he called me to make a couple of social media posts. That's how we realized, okay, he's bigger than this. He deserves more than this. At least let us document, so that the advantage or disadvantage of digital media is you put it there, somebody who has proper eyesight and heart in the right place will see at some point. That's the advantage of the internet, the world of internet, whatever. The disadvantage is it doesn't reach people, unless you pay, unless you boost, your content, right? So. Yes. Okay. Yes, madam.
Hi,
Yes, sir.
I think first I should probably give you also credit for bringing such an artist to a wider set of people. So definitely you deserve some appreciation as well. I have two questions, one for you and one for Tata. I saw that they were being encased, the items were getting encased in glass, and they were put in some museum or some kind of a show by another photographer. So are these works going to get preserved in some form? That's one question. And the second...
Actually, what you are seeing is not even 1% of what he had done.
Right.
Maybe if you can stay back later, I'll show his work. I've tried photographing thousands of things, just photograph alone, and I got fed up. I can't photograph anymore. Each one is a different thing, and he hasn't repeated the same thing again. And it's diverse, not only birds, many things he had done. Maybe you should see them and then decide.
Yeah, so is it going to be preserved or put in display anywhere is what?
Yeah, we have. Arvind's studio has some display. Okay. The person who's sitting right to you is Arvind. Oh. His studio in Narayanpura, right? Kottunuru. There are few things you can see. You can see, and he has curated. Being an artist from Chitrakala Parishad, he has preserved in certain theme, some thematic way. Probably should visit his place and see, just to understand what else he could do.
Right. And our second question to Tata is like, there's a lot of things from his eyes we can see in the documentary as well that have been lost in the city. They're no longer there. But is there anything that he finds which is still intact, he still cherishes that it is still there and he's happy about it in the city?
ನಾನಿರೋ ಜಾಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾತಾಡುವ ಇವಾಗ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಮಗ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೈತಮ್ಮ. ನಾನಿದ್ದ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಮಗ, ಇವಾಗೇನು ಅಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಮಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಯಾವುದಪ್ಪ? ಇಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ, ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಗ.
I hope you understood the question. Is saying that the places which he still likes or likes to go, nothing exists. Nothing exists. The place he lived, so he's stuck in those memories.
Hi, thank you so much firstly for documenting it so beautifully. My question was around if he could share us a story about how it started the first time he started making it, if he can recollect, and what kept him going, because he's been at it for so long for now. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
ನಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಳಗೆ 3 ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರ ಇತ್ತು ಮಗ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂಬಾಳೆ ಇತ್ತು, ಬೋಟ್ ಥರ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಮಗ ನಾನು. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಶಿಕಾರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಶಿಕಾರಿಗೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೇಚರೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದೆ ಮಗ. ಬರೀ ನೇಚರ್ ಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟೇ, ಬೇರೆ ಪೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಒಳಗೆ ದೇವ್ರು ಮಡಗೋನೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಗ. 1979 ಇಸ್ವಿಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇವಾಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮಗ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಒಂದು ದಿವಸನೂ ಮಾಡದೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮಗ. ಉಂಬಾಳೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ವಾಸು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹಂಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದೆ. ಬರ್ಡ್ ನನಗೆ ಭಾರಿ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಳ್ಳುಗಳು ಏನೇನು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮಗ. ನನಗೇನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಮಗ ನನಗೆ.
It seems there were 3 coconut trees in his house, and the tender coconut branch which fell off, he took that and made a boat out of it in the beginning, and he started liking it and continued doing. And also he was part of this hunters team. Nature was something which was close to him, and he started making them. That's his journey, and he's been doing for a long time. And whatever he is still doing, they're all the collections which he made decades back. Now he can't ride cycle or he can't walk too much. So although some of the boxes which you saw in the beginning of the film, they're all like, okay, one day these things will be useful. So he's kept collected, okay, this will be right leg, this will be toe, this will be head, He has collected in his own way. Only he can identify, others cannot. And when he sees something, okay, I can make this. I was waiting to make this. This box where I collected from Lal Bagh has some seeds which might become head for this or eye for this. So that's how he makes connections, and he sits and does. Every day he does. And it's told in other instances that sometimes he can make it in 2 minutes, sometimes he takes the whole night also. But until he makes that, he won't be sleeping. There is something which is bugging him until he completes that particular bird. So as for my conversation with him, I understood that he does those birds out of his guilty feeling that he was part of this hunters team.
Yeah. Tata first reminds me of my grandpa. So he also of similar age, but he passed away a couple of years ago. But he also used to be occupied with. Things. He was owning a cycle repair shop. He used to tinker something often until the age of 75. Until he was not able to move, he was tinkering certain things. So he reminds me of my grandpa. And then I wanted to maybe a small story from him, what he remembers from this young age, what he still remembers. Maybe if he can narrate some sentence that, yeah, I can, it would be good.
I'll try to make him narrate. Let's see.
ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳೋಕೆ
ಯಾವುದು ನಿಮಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಾತನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ?
ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ ಅನ್ಬುಪ್ಪಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ಬುಪ್ಪಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ, ಫೇಮಸ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರು ಅವರು. ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಒಂದು ಹುಡುಗನಿಗೆ 3 ಕಾಸು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಂಟಲು ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಾಯಿನು, ಹಾಂ, 3 ಕಾಸು, ಹಾಂ, ಅದು ಗಂಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ನಮ್ಮ ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸರಿ ಮಡಗಿದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ. ಡಿಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ, ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಬರೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ. ಆವಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಮಗನಿಗೆ, ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸನ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಥರ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರೇ ಈ ಥರ ಸಿಕ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಗಂಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕೊಂಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತ ಬರೀ ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲೊಳಗೆ ಇಕ್ಕಿ ಅದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರು. ರೋಡೊಳಗೇನೆ, ಮನೆಗೂ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ರೋಡೊಳಗೆ ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರು. ಆ ಹುಡುಗ ಬದುಕೊಂಬಿಟ್ಟ. ಇದೊಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಬೇರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾತನೂ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆನೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಚಿಕ್ಕಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ನಾವು. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬನೇ ಈ ಕೋತಿ ಲಗಡಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Well, so when his grandfather was a doctor, there were only 2 private hospitals in Basavangudi. Only 2 dispensaries they used to call. Dr. Rao and Dr. No, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರು ಇಬ್ಬರು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ, So they were all first generation doctors. He is 85 now. He's talking about his grandfather. By the time he see his grandfather, he was almost stopping his practice. So maybe he was 60. So 85 years back, that was something like 1940s. So he was working at Victoria and he used to run this private dispensary, and someone had brought the child with a stuck coin in the throat. And he was on his way to his dispensary, it seems, and he removed the coin using a pencil on the road itself, not even inside. So I have a lot of other stories about his grandfather. I think he's a legendary doctor, because the last shot which you saw there, it was a golden pendant given by Mysore King. Once, I think 1917 or so, they were traveling in Tanjavur-Mysore Express, met with it got derailed, except the coach he was traveling, rest of the coaches had toppled down. And he was also a fellow traveler. I think he was bringing his sister back from Tanjavur to Bangalore. So what he did was he used his lungi, shirt, everything he had in his suitcase, and he saved thousands of people using it as a bandage, all that. That's how he got those awards. Probably that was the highest civilian award back then, when we were not even Karnataka. We were all princely state. The whole India was, bunch of princely states, right? So if you take the history of first generation doctors who shaped Bangalore, his grandfather is also someone you cannot leave him just like that because of the contribution he had made for Victoria Hospital. There were new buildings came up during his term, all that. And Bangalore has decent medical facility. The entire Karnataka has decent medical facility. If you have been to government hospital, it is not corrupt. I'm not saying that, we are better than rest of the state, all that. But Karnataka, in terms of ratio, Karnataka produces highest number of medical students, medical graduates. Uttar Pradesh, for the size of 20 plus crore, it has 87 colleges, and Bangalore has 77 for the size of 6.5 crores. So we are, in terms of ratio, Karnataka has highest number of medical colleges. It produces highest number of medical graduates every year. All these are contribution of first generation doctors. Somebody went to US, studied cardiology, came down here, started Jaydeva, someone, started another department somewhere, Nimans, lot of hospitals in Bangalore are very reputed also. For example, Nimans is, there is nothing next to Nimans in entire India in terms of mental health, all that. So I think all these are contribution of the genuine work of first generation doctors. And the story which is shared, what is the primary responsibility of a doctor? Treating, caring that person, or making that person breathe again, right? So today it's the other way. A couple of weeks back, my father met with an accident. Until I go to hospital, after 3 hours, he wasn't even attended. Because until I had to pay some money, they didn't even start. So I'm just contrasting these two things. What was the primary responsibility? Vaidyo, Hari, whatever we say, God is, doctor is God, all these things. I think they lived by that. They lived by that.
Hey, hi. Thank you for making the film. It's very good. I had two questions, one for you and another like a character question like that. First question was, are you looking to post this anywhere on the internet or something? And what's a change that you want to hope to inspire that people get after seeing this? What would that be? And the second question would be, you said that he was a kind of a loner, right? And in the movie itself, he says, people love Vesto. I want to ask, is there any story of his, like something happened that made him say this and be who he is? Or even you can say like what you think makes him like that, if you don't want to say the story. Yeah.
I've asked him that question. I'll answer on behalf of him. He had many proposals to marry, all that, but 23 children. I showed the photograph. There were 40 children at one point of time in their house. So the house sounded like it's Anganwadi, it's a daycare center. The property, the L&T property, which is actually gone there and shot there inside as well. It's more than 10,000 square feet. That was the size of the house they had. I think he never felt the need of marriage, primarily, though he had proposals, all that. And second thing, he stayed with his grandfather and father for a long time, taking care of them during their final years. So he was just content with that. There was nothing else beyond. And being a Christian, lot of his thoughts are connected to religious way of understanding life. He was, I think, one step ahead of marriage, all that. Second thing, the first question which you asked about posting the film somewhere, I wanted to reshoot a lot. Were you there in the beginning? For 15 years, I didn't make any films. I was working in ESPN in 2005 and 6. Till 2008, I worked in different television channels, but after that, I actually didn't do anything. I kind of lost interest. I was doing many things, but this film brought back the learning which I lost. Things had changed drastically. We were using 2005-6. We were using beta tape, 180 minutes, big beta tape. That's what we were using for our ESPN sports coverage. Cameras. It was a different setup altogether. It looks like antique, if I show them now. In between, I had photography camera. My interest was photography. I was doing bird photography, all that. There was nothing I did with video. So this 15 years loss, I could experiment, initially a Handycam, then I bought one Sony full frame, then DJI sound. There are a lot of things which I had to learn. So if you have seen, there are some sequences good, some sequences not so good. I wanted to reshoot them. And remaking my own sequences, I felt, let me stop doing this and do something else. So I started working on Wayanad landslide victims more seriously and stopped this. And if there is some good funding, I would like to, take him to different kinds of stories. I want to take him to this KGF friend, still, knocking the door, asking him the hunting stories, the first phase of Kaveri, a lot of stories which are not covered. It requires proper, any film requires minimum amount of money plus people. Doing everything alone, that poses a lot of challenge. When you look at through frame, your world becomes minuscule. Like you're only seeing here. You're not seeing rest of the area. You need someone else to say that there is something else happening. And you're hearing the sound. So multitasking is impossible, right? Should I focus on the sound or the frame or the storyline, or somebody starts, especially in the city, lot of construction. A machine suddenly makes noise, a tile machine, something like that. So there is a need of a small team to do any kind of film. Otherwise, it always stays as an amateur film. If I want to turn that into more professional, I need both financial support as well human resource, which I'm getting for the second film. So, but the idea of documenting itself was kind of satisfaction to me. Okay, I did this without expecting anything. I don't expect any monetary outcome from this, and moreover, I'm learning the whole thing, and I realized why I should be documenting, why camera is powerful, why shooting something is important. Just standing on this building and taking pictures around will also turn into antique value sometime later, because it will not be the same area. There will be something else 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line. If you have a thought of you being storyteller sometime later, I think camera is an amazing invention. There are a lot of stories you can keep telling, because you are the only person who have the reference of the past and the present, right? So that realization is something which I got. I don't hope to get anything, and I would freely distribute the film wherever whoever wants, but with few re-edits.
Is he a football fan? I saw he had a Reading Football Club jacket.
He was a cricket fan. One of his brothers was a cricket. Back then, public service units used to have a team. His brother was working for HAL, and HAL had a team. In fact, Kumble, Dravid, everybody played for one or other public sector, or they hired, or something like that. In fact, some of them are bank employees in SBI and all. So back then, it was between public sector unit and public sector, BHEL versus HAL, those kind of things. And all those legendary cricketers, they were all playing like that. Because somebody were there to fund you. You don't need to work, but you are funded to play. I think he got his finger hurt, and then he stopped playing. Then he joined some Badravati Mills industry, something like that. So it was also a safe option. Back then, it was also a safe option. A lot of his brothers were into cricket. Almost play, I think Ranji. Okay. Okay, his brother Paul Ryan, he played Ranji, it seems. And they were all, in fact, their names is, one of his brothers' name is Ambrose. You know who's Ambrose? Fastest West Indian bowler. Yeah, 70s Ambrose, not the 90s Ambrose. So a lot of his brother's name and all those are, like, I think at some point West Indies were, they were the role models for Indian cricketers, not Indian cricketers. So he was a cricket fan, not football. ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ರಾ ನೀವು?
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಮಗ ನಾನು. ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರು, ವಿಶ್ವನಾಥ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತು ನನಗೂ. ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಟೆನ್ನಿಸ್ ಬಾಲ್ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಆಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ನಮ್ಮಣ್ಣನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಡೋನು.
And when you say old Bangalore, that Basavangudi, that area, so, all the cricketers he named, they were all neighbors. Yeah. And very few colleges like National College or Acharya Pathshala. So again, they were juniors, seniors, classmates. 23 brothers means, you know, somebody is connected to somebody in entire Bangalore, when Bangalore was still a village.
Out of time. Sorry. Yeah, firstly, thank you very much. I have more of a philosophical question you can answer. You know, a lot of the things we can learn from his life kind of debunks all this jargon which we hear about the need for gratification, money, appreciation, creative blockage, boredom. I'm grappling with my 17-year-old daughter with, you know, hooked on phone. I'm just wondering, since you know him a little bit, what has kept him going all these years? Because, you know, you see depression, whatever, you know, we know it all, right? The world we are living in. So what kept him going, and did he face any of those challenges which we all face, whether we are married or not married, or money, not money? So a little bit on that side, I would like to know him, his deeper person. How does he look at the world outside? Thank you.
ಇದು ದೇವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಮಗ, ನನಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಮಗ. ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಆಯ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಮಗ ಇದು. ನೇಚರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಐತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಒಂದು ಧೂಳು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ನಾನು. ಇನ್ನೂ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಇದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಮಗ. ನನ್ನಂಥರ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮಗ. ದೇವರು ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಥರ ಮಡಗವನೆ. ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಲೆ ಐತೆ ಮಗ, ಅಲ್ಲ ಮಗ.
He amazed with the fact that there is God everywhere. He sees beauty as God. For him, the definition of beauty is actually God. There is nothing more, nothing less. So everything is a creation of God. So God created me to create these things, to make these things. So that's his assumption. As I told you, you know, being a Christian octogenarian, he is, you know, in that path. He can't really, you know, say it in many words. And as I said earlier, through long conversations I had, what I've realized is he was part of this hunting team, and he was part of that hunting team despite not being a hunter, because he used to cook. He had learned cooking. So he used to cook those geese or goose or, you know, all those. Bangalore lakes get a lot of Siberian birds, you know, slightly bigger, you know, bigger in size. That means good meat. And it has to be cooked properly. Duck need to be cooked properly, otherwise you can't eat. He knew how to cook. And he used to taste only sambar. He never ate. And everybody liked his food. That's how he was part of those team. And back then it was not phone or anything. People just, you know, come around your house and whistle, and you slowly sneak out of the house and meet in some place. And everybody knows that, okay, it's Friday evening and we all should be meeting in this Arak shop. Arak is local alcohol, somewhere near Talgatpura, where you have metro station now. Metro cash and carry hypermarket is there. there used to be Sendi shop or Arak shop. Everybody used to meet there, then go further. Not to drink that, but there was a point where they all used to meet. So is constant exposure to, killing birds and he himself cooking them for rest of the people, that is what is actual motivation for him. So I have killed many, I've been responsible for killing a lot of birds, and let me apologize to God by doing these things. So this is my understanding. He never said these in direct words, but through a lot of, I made these disconnected joints, to understand myself.
On behalf of BIC, I would like to thank Mr. Sundar and Mr. Shantaraju for bringing this screening and conversation to our platform. Thank you, audience, for your time and interest, and you're welcome to explore the art piece displayed at the back. And yeah, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.